I accidentally turned my mic off and I was about to start talking. Talk about how you ask for referrals, or do you ask for referrals, and where do you ask for referrals, and where do you set people up to know they should be sending you
So I
referrals?
use Follow Up Boss, and I love Follow Up Boss. I was just introduced to Follow Up Boss about 2 years ago, and I put every person that I've ever met, like throughout the whole time, through 11 years, on into Follow Up Boss. So it's super easy for me. I'm able to stay in touch with my clients, know when it's their birthday, know when it's their anniversary. If I have an open house, I invite them. Even if they don't come to my open house, I know I get to see when they open an email, and that's a conversation that I can start later on that week. So I do set everyone, especially my past clients, I set them up on either month, every month I call them, or on their birthday. I use that as an excuse.
So when you say every month you call them, you're talking about every past client you call every month.
So no, I put them on a drip campaign, right? Regardless of no matter what, for any open houses, even if they're not buying, but when they open that email, I get a notification. And so I go back in there and I use that as an excuse just to either say, hey, do you know anyone that's wanting to buy or whatever? And then they'll reply back, you know what, my neighbor's selling, or you know what, I do know someone that wants to buy. But that's keeping me on top of their, obviously, their mind, and they
Sure.
do send me referrals.
Do you tell them you saw that they opened your email, or do you keep
I
that
know I
between
never
you
say
and?
that. I
I
never
was just
say that.
curious. I
No,
used to call people that opened our price list, but I would never say, "Hey, I know you're looking at our price list a
no,
minute ago." I was just like, "Oh, that's interesting. You do need gifts, Rick. That's fascinating." Uh,
no.
awesome. How many of y'all learned something from that? Make some noise. Rick, let's hear about your team and your structure.
So first off, I want to say thank you for coming because honestly, I thought we were going to have an empty room. Great group, a lot of talent in this room. So just a huge shout out to you guys. Thank you to my team, Brown Home Group. A lot of you guys came, so thanks for supporting me. So I have a team of we're 15 agents. We actually are an expansion team. So with Keller Williams, we're fortunate to have a team in Claremont, one in Daytona, and then our main hub is in Orlando. I have 3 social media interns. So if you're interested in getting free social media help, see me afterwards. And then I have an amazing executive assistant slash transaction coordinator slash work wife that pretty much is my right hand and would not be able to be as successful as we are. We're right now closing on about 35 million. And I couldn't tell you the transactions. I
You're
really
saying
don't.
so far this year,
Yeah,
correct?
so far this year. I don't look at transactions. I know some people do. I primarily look at GCI. So at the end of the
Smart.
day, our revenue is kind of where it's at. Um, so I think for me, obviously, most of you do know me, know that open houses is where I started my business. And it's still today something that I truly believe. And I think going into the NAR, which is I know, bad word we don't want to talk about, but it is going to happen. And open houses is going to be a key factor. I think they're going to come back more and more. They're going to come back stronger, and we're going to need to be ready. And I feel like don't stop doing them just because you get busy. I think, I was talking to Liz here, and, she made something which I thought was kind of cool is the fact that she doesn't want to call us lead generators because it seems like a job. Um, but that's what we are. We are lead generators. We're not realtors. So if I can give you guys any advice, try not to tap into everything that's out there. Try to focus on one thing and see if you can master it. Then focus on another thing. My biggest thing right now, being in this business almost 10 years, is my sphere. So as a new agent, we don't have a sphere. But as you grow your business, I highly recommend you tapping into your sphere. How many people hate to see it on Facebook that somebody bought a house and you went to high school with them or you went to college with them and they bought it with someone else? How frustrating is that? So I do believe that obviously our sphere is going to be important. But with open houses, you don't know the person that's coming into the open house. And preparation for an open house, I'm not sure if we'll get to that, but is going to be the key factor. And then ultimately follow up. That's probably 80% of what people fail at in lead generating is the follow-up. So if I can help in any way on that, if we get to that topic, I'd love to do so. Thanks so much.
Well, let me ask you a couple
Oh,
quick
sorry.
questions
Go ahead.
on what you're talking about. Because you said people don't have a sphere when they get into real estate, but someone like yourself, you had many, many, many years in Orlando in a sales capacity. You had a pretty big sphere, just not past customers in real estate. Can you talk a little bit about how people can use their sphere and what they should be doing to turn their previous sphere into like something that's warm for their real estate business?
Yeah. So, I guess they say that you should have at least 300 Mets in your database. It's people that know you, trust you, like you, and want to possibly do real estate with you. You'd be surprised that those people are in your phone right now, and it's more about consistently making those calls, making those reaches, and using the tools that are available to do just that. When I got in this business, previous was international business and did logistics, traveled 280 days a year. Did not think I had a database. Then I realized that actually I had a huge database. I just was not utilizing it correctly. So for those that are new in real estate, I would highly recommend looking at your database of maybe your previous employer, your employment, and see what's there. If you're not in full-time real estate, then obviously you're in touch with those people on a daily basis. So you may have a sphere and you just didn't know it. If you have a social Facebook page, those Facebook messengers where the green lights are on, those are like door knocking without having to leave your home. Just make it regular, consistent, and be dedicated to just reaching out and saying, hey, just checking in to see how you're doing, and go down that list and do 5 a day, 5, an hour. I mean, just reaching out. But I really believe that with a sphere, those are probably, I want to say, the low hanging fruit.
Honestly, you could scrape that data and just put it straight into your database. There's a whole bunch of ways to pull data straight from all the different systems that you have.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true. Yeah, for sure.
They do it in bold. They make you sit down and come up with people. I mean, in cut training, they do the same thing. Like when you're brand new, they make you sit down and come up with a list of everyone you know, just everyone you can think of. And then they have you break down, okay, who's married over 30 and owns a home. They call it a MAC, married, age, 30 plus, and CASA. So it's MAC. But the idea is really simple. Most of you guys, everyone you know, is probably over 30 and owns a home, or a lot of them, or just someone that's over 30 and has a job. Is a good person for home. You get what I'm saying, though? If you start
100%.
qualifying the people you know and separate everyone you know and just who could be a prospect, you probably realize that everyone in this room has a pretty big sphere already.
Yeah.
They just might not all be using it.
One last thing I was just going to say so far is the other thing that I think that as an agent in Orlando, we need to tap into our agent referral network. If you don't know what the top states are that are moving to Orlando right now, you need to find that out. I mean, it's all over. Obviously we know the normal ones, right? New York and California. You need to grab referral partners in those states because a lot, I don't even know what the statistic is now. I think it's like 1,000 a day are moving to Central Florida. So just take some time, again, being consistent and making those calls to some of your referral partners for your respective brokerages, and team up and say, hey, look, I'd love to, work with you on anybody that's moving here, and vice versa. I mean, I would stay away from like Topeka, Kansas or something, because you're probably not going to send a referral there, but they might be moving here. So for what it's worth.
I know one thing we've had panelists share is that they built an agent database and they market to the agent sphere too, and they're separate marketing.
Yeah. I mean, we do a newsletter and we do one for our clientele, but then we also do one for an agent referral, because obviously our clientele is a little different. It's all about, who's closed this month, or, a new agent that's joined the team. But it's on the agent referral. It's more about the market, what's selling, what's not, and how we can help their client be able to find their next home.
Love it. Harif, talk about your structure and your focus.
What's up, everybody? Our structure, so I just started kind of zeroing in on the team. I've had the Hazera team for quite some time. It was an itch that I wanted to scratch, just because I love coaching and I'm a product of my coaches. To me, it's a hack. if you want to get good at anything in life, find somebody who's already where you want to be and pay them to teach you what they already know. Or you could learn by trial and error. And that's the most expensive and the longest and hardest way. And you're probably going to be frustrated unless you're very determined. So anyways, we have 6 agents. Same with Rick. I have Myra, who's sitting there, who's awesome and videotaping me right now. So you could use this later to remind yourself how awesome you are. But seriously, it is a team effort. She runs everything for me behind the scenes. And really this year, I've gotten zeroed in on running this like a business. I think eventually you tap out your full potential as a sales professional. And then you got to start pivoting and thinking smarter, working smarter, not harder. And anyone who's been doing this a long time knows if your business has grown, like I work a lot less than I did my first 2 years and make 10 times more money. And so the first couple years is a grind. You cannot skip, the steps. And don't get me wrong, I still work really hard. I just work a lot smarter now. And so I get more done. And, the first few years you're just really busy, but not as productive. But you can't skip the reps in the gym. You got to put them in. But so for us, I built my entire business on open houses. I think you guys hear a theme. To me, the way it was presented, it's free. Like it's free. I think everybody, going back to what I was mentioning, everyone's looking for a shortcut in everything in life, right? Ozempic is popular for a reason. A lot of things are popular because the world wants a shortcut, a silver bullet. And the truth is there are no shortcuts. You just got to put time in the saddle. And if you do that, you will be successful. And I say this to my team all the time. You only fail if you quit. But if you're determined and you're going to keep showing up over and over. I told this story, like my first listing I had the day that I got my license, 1651 Viburnum Lane. It was in Eastbrook for $200,000. It was a quote unquote expired listing that I convinced my cousins to give me because the agent that they hired wasn't selling it. And I was like, the day I get my license, if that thing is still on the market, you're going to give me the listing. And they did. And I'll never forget it. It was Super Bowl weekend. It was pouring down, raining. I was literally dressed up in a suit like if I was at a $5 million property. And that's part of showing up, by the way, not just physically, but like you're all in. And I remember just like slamming this open house sign in this mud, and all my shoes were getting all dirty. And my wife's back at the house she was already, working, and we were broke. And she was baking cookies because that's what we were told we're supposed to do at open houses. And we ate all of them anyways because nobody eats them. So you know how that goes. And I remember like hearing this voice, like, what are you doing? You're an idiot. Like you're the only real estate agent out here in the rain, in a suit, Super Bowl weekend. No one's going to show up. And that voice that I'm talking about that is tempting you to quit. And I remember like I get emotional when I tell this story, but I remember like talking back out loud to it, just like, I don't care if one person shows up to this open house. The fact that I am the only person out here in the rain on Super Bowl weekend, like I believe God was going to reward me for that. And that open house, I had 3 buyers that showed up that I ended up closing on, and that kind of launched my real estate career. So anyways, I don't even know why I shared that story. That was for one person, hopefully. But yeah, I built my entire career on open houses. Still to this day, if my pipeline is dry, I bang out open houses. And I just show up. It's 2 hours. I used to do like the 4 or 5 hour thing on the weekends. And then I just realized you're setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion. If you book like a big block, you're better off doing a 2 hour window. So that way the people can come. There's strategy there, in my opinion. You create urgency that way. And people, stragglers come in at the last minute anyways. You end up turning it into a 3 hour thing. But anyway, so yeah, that's how I started my business. That's that's my primary source of lead gen. I'm more quality than quantity. To Rick's point, I don't count transactions. I'm focused on GCI, and my average price point right now is at 1.1 million. And my primary the majority of my energy is now pivoted from lead generating buyers to sellers.
Love it. Love it. Amy, you picked the wrong side. No, I'm kidding. Let's talk about what your structure looks like.
Okay. Hi,
Why
hi
you have it,
everybody.
where your focus is.
Thanks for having me. This is so awesome. Okay, so number one, I love real estate. I love everything about it, and I think it's fantastic that we're all here together. So it just makes me feel so good. I hope you feel good too. All right, so this is what we do. So at KeyBella Homes, so I've been in real estate since 2005, and I used to work at a homeless shelter. So my goals when I became a realtor were so low. I mean, I remember I was in the ALC when at my last brokerage, and we went around and gave our goals. And I think I said my goal was like, oh, I think my goal is to make $40,000 this year. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, it's not close enough. Thank you. But my goal was only to make $40,000. And everybody on the ALC looked at me like, Amy, like that's way too low. Like you can't say that here. But I'm sharing this because the struggle's real when you're starting. And I know the market's kind of shifted right now for a lot of us. And some of us feel it, and some of you probably feel it. And so there's always hope that there's something here that you can do. So for me, it was really, I focused on just building relationships with as many people as possible. And I didn't care how I did it. So if it was an open house, and I was a little more timid when it came to open houses, but I joined a BNI chapter, Business Networking Incorporated. I'm still part of a BNI chapter right now. Where our chapter right now is probably 55 members. And they give so many referrals. The goal is only to give give each other business. So I'm receiving probably 2 to 6 referrals a week. I keep some of them. I pass some of them off to my team. My team right now, we have about 11 members. I've got 4 agents plus myself. And then I also have a business team of 5. As team owners, you go through your ups and downs with the number of agents that you have. I've had as many as 11 agents. I can tell you for capacity, it can be a lot on a team leader to be answering all the questions. It's just a lot. I mean, it's like every morning on Mondays, it would be, okay, wait, this person just called me, then this person just called me, then this person just called me. And there's 10 of them. It's fantastic to help, but it can be very, very hard. So kudos to all of you who are building your teams. It can be definitely a challenge. And it's very rewarding because we are here to help you build your business and probably achieve things that you wouldn't normally achieve just by yourself because of our resources. I have a director of operations. I have a listing manager. You just give the address and she sends you the paperwork and puts her listing live for you, and you're just all set to go. I've got a transaction coordinator who works with all the buyers. I have a VA who works with all the social media. So all of our videos that we're doing, I just hired her about a year ago. And then I feel like I'm missing. Oh, and then I have a runner. I had one agent that I just absolutely love. And 4 years ago, it was obvious. He wasn't a lead generator. He felt so nervous asking for business. So I made him into my runner. I actually bought a company car, and he runs for the entire team. So if you can't show a property, he shows your property for you. If you're on vacation, he shows the properties. Any vacant home checks or anything like that, he does all of that for us. He drops everything off every day. So he's fantastic. And he works 6 days a week. So that was part of the deal as well. And he works during the weekends. So I always have somebody during the weekends. And one of my VAs also work on the Saturdays. So if you're in the car driving, she can write your offer for you while you're running around showing houses. I've been doing this for 19 years now. So I've had a lot of experience just in terms of lots of failing, lots of crying, lots and lots of crying. And through it all, it's still amazing. And I know how many of us have cried sometimes, right? Like we cry because it's emotional and stressful sometimes, but yeah, it's all fantastic. But the main thing for me is just go build relationships, go become better at being whoever you need to be to build the better relationships, and then join a networking group and make a goal to talk to and have great conversations, but in person, something that is for me, probably the thing that works the best. Which is why I like the networking group, is because you're seeing consistently the same people. And then what else? There's one more thing I wanted to say, but I forgot.
What do you do to maximize your networking group?
Pardon
Because a
me?
lot of people join networking groups and they don't get anything, or they don't create anything.
That's
let's
a
say.
great question. So
Can you talk about how they could actually?
Yeah. So it's all about the creation, right? So you have to create the relationship, and you only do that by getting to know them outside of the networking group. So if I want to get to know Harif, Harif, let's go to coffee. right? Let's hang out. I want to find out more about you and how can I build your business for you? And then I never ever expect anything from anybody ever. I'm here to give you whatever, how can I help you become better, get something better, get you to whatever it is that you want to get. I want to help you grow and help you achieve your goals. And when you do that for people, their just natural response is they want to give back to you. So, and it's awesome. And yeah, I know all of you know this, right? Like all of you know this, which is why they've built great businesses too.
I got one more question for you, Amy, and then I'm going to go to shorter ones. So don't worry,
Okay.
y'all. You won't all have to wait 20 minutes between each person, but I figured we'd go deep in on each person. Amy, how do you keep four? I mean, you have 4 people on your team. So how do you feed 4 other mouths with enough leads?
It's a
What are
great
the things that
question.
you guys are doing to
So-
make sure you have enough?
So when I started my team back in 2009, back then, all the leads were given to us. Like Zillow just gave you your own leads back, and Realtor.com gave us our leads back. They didn't sell them to anybody. So we used to have like 200, 300 leads coming in a month, pouring in. And it's who wants a lead? Who wants a lead? Just, right here's, you do, right? But since then, everything's changed. So actually, we don't give us leads out as often as we used to. Because just everything's right now in the market's a little funky. My goal is to help you become such an amazing realtor that you're holding out your hand because everybody's calling you just to give you referrals. And so we spend the most of our time with our sphere and our database. We do a ton of events throughout the year. We just had our movie night on Tuesday night. We had about 350 people there. It was amazing. And during the invitation process, when we invite 2,000 people to movie night and we know most of them are going to say no, we ask specific questions. Who do we need to know? Who do you want us to know? How can we help you with whatever it is you need in your home? But we ask specific questions to get referrals. So just the invitation alone probably brings in about 10 referrals. So that's what we're trying to do with all of we don't try, we do it, right? So that's what we're doing to help.
Love it. I'm going to ask you guys all about your best events. So we're going to go back to this. By the way, someone in the audience, remind me if we don't go back to best events and I'm about to skip it, yell it out and be like, hey, wait, you said we'd do best events, because I'm going to go down all of it and ask about your strategy with that. But let me ask each of you guys, let's talk about open houses, because it came out from pretty much everyone. I want to hear your best strategies or biggest mistakes agents make, ninja tricks, anything that people in this room either are probably doing wrong or probably don't know they could be doing better when it comes to open houses. I'll start with you, Natalie. We'll just run down the line.
I would say with obviously like circle prospecting the neighborhood for when you have the open house. And also the biggest thing for me is making sure it's on at least 5 days before. So it's generating on the online algorithms, because I don't know if you guys know or not, but when you put an open house on Zillow, that it actually makes it go to the top of the algorithms where people can see it. So people will actually come even from Zillow, and then putting a lot of signs out. I think people aren't putting enough signs out. And then the way you present your open house when you're there, I like to do champagne, like little brunch stuff. So sometimes I'll have champagne, little pastries from, from Publix, stuff like that.
How many of you have shown up at an open house that you originally saw on Zillow, out of curiosity? Anybody in this room? I'm the only one? All right, well, I've done it. In fact, I showed up at Harif's. You said circle prospecting them, just to make sure I'm following. Is that to invite them to the open house?
Yes, letting them know so that there's a home. And this way, if they know anybody who's trying to buy in their neighborhood, they know that the property is there.
What medium are you reaching out to them?
Huh?
How are you reaching out? Is it by phone?
Oh, your
email?
phone, yeah, a dialer. I have the ISA do it. So basically the ISA will let them know that there's an open house coming if they want to come get some beverages, which also gives the team an opportunity to be able to sell in that neighborhood, right? Because now you're connecting with the neighbors who are going to come for champagne, and you make it like just a little like who doesn't want free food and free champagne on a Sunday?
So just to be clear, because I think this went over, some of the people caught this, and I think this is going over a few people's heads, because this is a great strategy. You're calling the people around an open house, or you have your team doing it.
Yes.
They're saying, hey, we're doing this open house. We're going to have free champagne and food and all this, and you can see your neighbor's house.
Yes.
Just come and visit us. We're going to be here this time to this time, and you're just pumping neighbors into it.
Yes, and that's this way you're in the neighborhood. So now you're already have the listing in the neighborhood. When it sells, you already have now their information, not only from circle prospecting, but even if they sign up for you, and we usually have them sign in. I use Follow Up Boss like she does. So, just making sure you're staying in that neighborhood. So even if I don't have people that just come by, I'm getting to know the people in the neighborhood.
Love it. Love it. Lissette, let's hear your best open house strategies, tricks, tips, or lessons
So
learned.
for the open house, I normally put the listing on a Tuesday, so it allows me enough time to market. So I run ads, MailChimp, send them an e-blast on Follow Up Boss. And besides putting it on MLS as open house, making sure that whatever open house we're catering to allows us either to put signs or follow the instructions. Because obviously, if you're not able to put an open house sign, you need to pay a little bit more money on marketing so you can get more people in there. And I never, ever, ever buy no food or anything like that. What I spend my money on is I give gas gift cards from Lowe's or gas for gas or food, but I never spend money on water or popcorn or anything like that. I just feel like it's a lot of work, and if they don't show up, then who's gonna eat that or who's gonna take that back home? I don't want to take it back home.
Oh, you can jump in. Yeah.
I have one
By the
more
way,
thing. You
guys
just
can
made me
agree or
realize that.
disagree.
So what I used to have, and actually, Simeon, and we used to sign on, is we would do a raffle. So they gather the information. So we'd say if you want a $10 or $20 gift card to Starbucks, you have them fill out on Amazon the raffle tickets. We put it in like a fish bowl, and then you can. That's another way too that we used to do some things like that, which is a great way to get the people in. And then you have to obviously reach out to the person who won the gift card as well. So I don't know if you do things like that.
Yeah. So, and that's also what we do. It's mandatory for everyone to sign in. So we have this cool digital iPad, and everyone must sign in order for them to enter the raffle. And of course, the minute they hear a raffle, that's how we get their information.
Love it. I know. Is Christina in the room somewhere? Christina's back there, right? I think so. She does branded gifts that you could be raffling off at your stuff that I know some of y'all have given as closing gifts, and you can give them as a closing, but you can also raffle them at the open house, get people stoked about the fact that they might get more of them if you close with them. All right, let's keep going. Rick, best strategies. I'm going to ask all of you about follow-up after, by the way.
So I think we've all kind of established the setup, which is great. These ladies do a great job on that. But really, it's all about trying to secure the buyer, right? When the buyer comes in the open house. So one of the scripts that we use, obviously, putting signs out is important. People are going to find it on the internet. So we want to kind of have an idea when somebody comes into your open house, exactly how did they find you? So we literally will ask that. And then a lot of times people come into your open house and they think you are the listing agent. So they don't want to really talk to you. So we don't say, are you working with a realtor? Because if you say that, first thing they say is, yep, right? So we'll say something like, hey, I'm a buyer's agent. I work for you. And then shut up. And just wait maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds. If they're working with a realtor, that's when they're going to tell you, oh, no, I have a realtor. And then obviously, ethically, we need to say something in the effect of, so I appreciate loyalty. Who's your realtor? And when they say, Julie, the balloon with the red, white, no, they're not working with a realtor, right? And if they're not standing next to them, sorry, guys, they're fair game. So there's always a way to say, look, I'd like to follow up with you tomorrow to make sure you're getting taken care of. And then I hopefully will come back to my 5 days of pain. But, when you do an open house and consistently do them, one buyer that you secure is a good open house. If you can get 2, that's a great open house, right? So standing around, nobody comes to your open house. It's important to do the preparation. I think maybe Natalie said Tuesday, 100%. You need to do your preparation 2-3 days.
Can you break
like to door knock
down what all the prep is? I think that's what you're doing, but just want to make sure that's what you're doing. Can you break down all the prep they should know and should be doing?
So for us, it's primarily first and foremost, if you don't have your own listing, you got to call the listing agent and make sure they put the damn thing on the MLS, right? Because that's what's going to put it up on Zillow. That's what's going to put it up on the 2,300 other websites. So you're going to get a traffic from that. If you prepare your open house on a Wednesday, Thursday, you got to then follow up to make sure you saw it on Realtor.com and you saw it on Zillow. If not, you've got to reach out to the listing agent. Now, if it's your own listing, then hopefully you have an amazing admin like Harry does, and that is something that is done. But as a single agent, if you don't have listings, first and foremost, make sure it's on the MLS. Second, I always call the listing agent and ask, can I call your title company and see if I can get a raffle item? I'm going to ask the title company of that listing, because who doesn't want to sell the listing more than the title company? They're more than willing to usually give you a basket. They probably have that Cutco back there and they're already planning that basket for you. But it doesn't have to be, extravagant. It can be, like they said, a gift card. $25 gift card you can pay for yourself. Any more than that, you need to see your accountant. But if you do a gift basket or a gift card, it's kind of like a bribe, right? If you tell them, hey, look, if you just sign my sheet, you have a chance to win this raffle item. And guess what? You're the only one. And then behind you have like 7 or 8, right? It's okay. The goal is to get what? Name, phone number, and email address. That's the key with somebody coming into your open house. But I feel like signs, we're not big on putting a lot of signs out, but it's strategically where the signs need to go. So, some people say put 30 signs, put balloons on the signs. I'll be honest with you. I don't do that, but I do feel that depending on the house, you may need more ups, right? Those ones that we call them breadcrumbs, right? You put those signs out, they will come. You have major intersections, be safe. We had an agent, not on our team, but in our market center, got hit by a car because she tried crossing the road.
That'll screw your life up. I promise you guys.
It did. It screwed her big time.
Man.
So be safe. Pull over into certain intersections of, like neighborhoods. Don't put signs out where it doesn't make safe. But the biggest thing I want to say is if you put a sign in a neighborhood, in a lot of the communities, they have companies that actually come and pull our damn signs. They get charged $5 a sign. It probably costs us more than $5 for that dang sign. Do me a favor and knock on the door of the neighbor of the corner and say, hey, I'm going to be doing an open house today from 12 to 4, or obviously 12 to 2 in Harry's case. 12 to 2. Can I just put a sign in your yard? If you put it on the inside of the yard, those guys can't take it. If you put it on the outside of that main drag, yeah, you're going to lose your sign, especially in a lot of those bigger communities. And it's a conversation.
You can pair that up with that circle prospecting or the gift giving.
100%. But it's a conversation, right? You just say, hey, I'm going to be doing an open house. Love for you to come by, and then just shut up. If they've got a neighbor or somebody, maybe they want somebody to move into the neighborhood, that's when they're going to have that conversation with you. So that's my 2 cents.
Harif, give us something we haven't talked about.
It's like the 8-mile line. Something we haven't talked about. Well, I'll tell you my approach to open houses. Like I said, I built everything there and I'm very strategic with it. We always also launch our listings on a Tuesday, and then we do an open house on Thursdays from 4 to 6 as a twilight open house, and then Saturdays for another 2-hour time block. And the reason why we do that is you'd be surprised. There's many reasons, but number one reason is you significantly increase your chances, if it is your listing, of double dipping. So that's the fastest way to double your business or grow your business. Listings is where it's at. And you'd be surprised at how many people come on a Thursday. If you come on a Thursday from 4 to 6, you're pretty interested in the property. So your lead quality is generally better. You may not get as many of them, but the people that do come tend to be better quality. And we also use that as an opportunity to invite the neighbors. So we, rather than circle prospecting phone calls, we send out a mailer to all the neighbors that basically say, we've listed a property in your neighborhood. Come by and meet fellow neighbors, mingle, something to that effect. We do have some drinks, some charcuterie. We try to do something a little bit nicer to bring people out. And even if they don't show up, again, the fact that they're seeing your postcards, then your sign is in the yard, then your open house signs are there, then you start hitting them that way, that starts to generate a really powerful lead generation. So for me, I'm really focused primarily on generating seller leads. That's what I'm focused on now. And ever since I've made that pivot, it's been a game changer. I was spending a lot of money on Zillow. I won't give them a dime anymore. If it's working for you, good. I'm glad. I sincerely mean that. But I can generate buyer leads from my listings. And yeah, that's pretty much how I do my open houses.
Love it. Amy, anything we haven't talked about on open houses?
There's only one difference. One thing that we do that maybe I can add is when people walk through the door, you shake their hand, thanks for coming in. I bring out the market pulse and I actually ask them, do you know what's happening in the market? Have you been updated? And they all say no. Nobody, I don't think I've ever had anybody say yes. And the minute you start going over statistics and talking about the market, your credibility kind of starts to increase a little bit. And then it's, the seller requires you to sign in. So, and sometimes I'll do the name. I'll write it myself. I'm not going to trust them to do it. That's it. Nice and easy.
Love
I
it.
just want to add for that, because if you're a seasoned vet with open houses and you're writing down, these people like chicken scratch it. You're there. You spent 2 or 4 hours, God forbid, at an open house, and you can't read anyone's names. The iPad download Open Home Pro. It's $20 a month. Be professional, for crying out loud. Like for me, I love it because they type it on the iPad. It instantly sends them a follow-up email thanking them for stopping by the open house. And if they open the email, it automatically syncs into Follow-Up Boss. So you're just making it's just way more efficient. So pro tip.
I'm going to ask you guys all about how you follow up, but I'm just thrusting out, since you're talking about the circle prospecting, you're talking about how they've seen you and the sign, the invite, all these places. I don't know how many times I get something in the mail and it's just a one-off thing from an agent who just decided to market to my neighborhood, and then that's it. And you're like, how low of the fruit are you expecting? Like you're looking for fruit that basically fell off the tree and is probably rotting on the ground. And the person who's going to hit you in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 ways for an extended period of time is going to win like 80, 90% of the market share in that area. And I'm going to guess a bunch of you guys, and someone asked about farming, but could you guys touch on a little bit about all the ways you're repetitively going to the same place or the same people? Because if you sell a home and you invited the neighbors and you circle prospecting and you sent out mailers, you most likely would rather double down on that exact area rather than spread and kind of touch another one, I'm assuming. Can someone hit on that a little bit and kind of explain how you turn, basically what I'm really asking is how you turn one listing into a few listings in the same area?
Consistency. Really, one mailer, one time is not going to cut it. Now, this is going to be an expense, right? There's a cost involved. You can team up with these incredible vendors that we have here today and co-market to help cut some of that expense down. We would say, or I would say that start with your own neighborhood, right? How frustrating it is to see a listing sign go in your neighborhood that it's not got your face on it. So I would start there. But there has to be some consistency in not just putting a mailer out. My team I'll send them a list of their neighborhood, right, of their homes. And it's kind of a rule that you have to call everybody in that neighborhood or you have to door knock it first and let me know what you found out. Give me an understanding of here's who I met. I got their phone number. I got their email address, because then we can throw them onto a newsletter or we can make a phone call. Once they do that, then they can get a postcard. Postcards aren't cheap. Those core fact postcards are, with the QR code. When somebody puts in a code, it tells them and it sends you an alert. Just sending out a mass card, it's kind of frustrating because if you don't get anything back, you just sent that money out. So you want some kind of result. You want an ROI for that. But once you do that, then you have to do the follow-up. So knocking on the door and making sure they got your card, making a phone call, making sure they got your card, and then do it for at least a minimum of 6 months. You can't just do one and done. You really have to consistently put something out there. And I love what Amy said about the market pulse. Put that on your card. Make sure that you're giving updated information, recent solds in the neighborhood. If you're going to do your neighborhood, be the expert. So know your neighborhood. Definitely make sure you're looking at what's selling, who's selling, and then consistently follow up.
I can tell you, if you don't hit someone for at least 18 to 24 months and you're using direct mail or print, it's not doing anything.
I think it just takes one, Aaron. So I'm just saying, if you're doing 6 months and you still haven't gotten one, because I look at things in ROI, and I hope we all kind of look at that, right? Because we're all businesses, and there has to be a return on that investment. And all I get one, I'll be more than happy to return that investment for another 6 months. It doesn't take a lot, right? If we get one listing from that. It
No, I
just
totally-
depends.
You could hit them, get 1 out of 6, 1 out of 6, 1 out of 6. But if you kept it going for, let's say, 3 or 4 years, suddenly that 1 is 12.
Well,
15,
that's the
20.
reason that it does consistently keep going, because you are seeing this success.
Can we talk about follow up from the open houses? Because 3 people have texted me that already. Can someone touch on how you follow up with the people? Whoever wants to hit this.
I just want to give you this gift real quick, and I'll shut up. I promise. But I feel like I owe it to you because it's changed my business. I had a drip camp. I made a commitment to a specific area. I would suggest don't farm just some random area. Farm your ideal client that you want to work with. Be very intentional because it is expensive. So rather than a shotgun approach, go laser beam. Focus on a neighborhood that you know really, really well, that when you do get the listing appointment, if it's your neighborhood, obviously it's an easy sell. One of the lines that I say, since I've done this year alone, and I've pulled all the money from Zillow and I started just doing what I'm about to tell you, I've got 7 listings in my neighborhood right now. If you're competing with me in Hawks Crest, I'm going to kill you. So I'm going to chew you up and spit you out. Obviously, you guys are welcome there. But no, seriously, I got 7 listings there, and it's a good median price point, and I live there. So one of the things that I would tell you when you do get the listing appointment is tell them, especially if you're competing versus other agents, is say, hey, I have an interest. I have a what's the exact phrase that I say? I have a vested interest in selling your house for top dollar because it directly impacts the value of my home. And I'm going to personally show, we do this anyways, but I'm going to personally show every single showing. I will be here because nobody knows the neighborhood like I do. My kids walk these streets, blah, 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 blah. And that usually will generate you getting the listing. But I almost pulled the plug 3 feet from gold. But I made a commitment. I'm just going to keep hammering this neighborhood. 11 months in, I got nothing. And I remember talking to Myra like, hey, or I was going to, but I'm going to pull this thing. I kid you not, like just before I'm getting ready to pull the cord, I got a call from a woman who said, hey, I've been collecting your mailers for the last year. And I always said they're so nice. That's another thing. Don't go cheap. Especially if it's a higher price point. But I've been collecting these. And I always said, when I'm ready to list, I'm going to call you. And I got that listing. I leveraged that listing to get the next one, then the next one, then the next one. And now when I go on a listing presentation, hey, here's a list of all your neighbors that have sold with me. Feel free to call them as references. Like it just snowballs and compounds. So that's my biggest piece of advice. And think about now with the open houses. I dominate that freaking market, and it happened in a relatively short period of time. So anyways, I'll let somebody else talk.
Love it. The 11 months thing is exactly what I was trying to get at. So we're on the same page here. Who else wants to add? Anyone want to add something before we go on to another question?
So for follow-up on open houses, we have a 5 days of pain. So you can write this down. Day 1, at the open house, you want to do a video text. And all it is 20 seconds. Hi, this is Rick Brown with Brown Home Group. I want to thank you so much for coming to my open house. I'm going to be following up with you tomorrow to get started. Now, obviously, if you have personal conversation with them and it's something that you can elaborate on, then use it, right? It was great meeting your husband, John, and your daughter, Julie, or whatever. So it shows that you were listening. Day 2 is a phone call. So you're going to call. And again, every one of these 5 days of pain is just that. We're going to pain the potential buyer. We're going to pain the potential seller. And it's day 2 is because they didn't respond to that video text. So I highly recommend trying to find a tool that analytics the text. So there's something called Dubb, which is what we use, DUBB. And then obviously BombBomb, I think, does it. And you want something that shows that they opened your video, watched it, how long they watched it for, because they may just open it and go, oh, shoot, no. But at the end of the day, make sure that they have opened it. So day 2 is a phone call, and all it is, hey, this is Rick with Brown Home Group. I was really excited meeting you guys yesterday at the open house. Want to make sure you got my video. I'm looking forward to working with you so we can get started. Give me a call back, right? So day 3 now is an email. That email is going to be pretty much what we would consider an MLS search. So if you've done your homework while you're in the open house, you're asking, where do you want to be? What are you looking for? If it's not that house, of course. Day 4, I'll be honest with you, it depends on the age. If it's a younger crowd, you might do another video text. You might do it just a text. If it's an older person, yeah, you're going to do another phone call. And again, you're going to be saying, hey, I just want to follow up based on, I've reached out to you a couple times now. I know you might be busy, but I'm really excited to get started working. Please give me a call back. Day 5.
Hey, real quick, how do you define old? No, I'm just kidding. Day 5, go ahead.
Me. Day 5, and this is the most critical one, is an email. And in the subject line, you're just going to write, where did I go wrong? Yep. And in that email, you're just going to write, hey, I know you must be busy. Maybe something's come up. I'm really still looking forward to working with you, but I'd love to hear if there's anything I could have done differently so we can work together. And if not, I wish you all the best. I'll be honest with you, in 5 days, if they haven't responded to you, you've lost them. Not to say don't use your tools, don't use your follow-up boss or whatever CRM you're using and put them into a smart plan, right? Until they come back and say, dude, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, leave me alone. I don't want to work with you. Okay, fine, move on. So that's my tidbit for 5 days of pain.
All right, so real quick, just to break it down, make sure it's summarized. 5 steps. Day 1.
Video text at the open house.
Day 2.
Phone call following up with a video text.
Day 3.
It would be an email. Now, we use something, you're welcome to steal it. We say, hey, look, we're going to set you up on our Buyer's Advantage program. It's the MLS search.
Love it. Day 4.
Depends on the age, video, text, or older, phone call.
Love it. Day 5.
Email. Where'd I go wrong?
But y'all catch the takeaway at the end? A lot of people aren't trained in sales in these rooms, and I know you guys sell, but only some people are highly trained in sales, and some people are learning sales as they sell real estate. And I can tell you that the takeaway at the end will get you way more response from the people that have been ignoring you than probably anything. I'm not saying you get a ton of response, but I bet you
that's
15,
that's
20,
when you get it.
30% of the people that have ignored you suddenly respond.
And it's terrible sometimes. Oh, my husband died, or my sister, just got married, and we've been but it is a response. You'll get a response.
We send things like ... Where do we go from here?
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, you asked for us to follow up. We followed up multiple times. We haven't heard back from you. Where do we go from here?
I've actually gotten.
Have you given up on partnering with Orlando Real Producers? Have you given up on whatever information you requested? Have you given up on searching for a home in Central Florida? You'd be shocked how many people respond.
We've actually gotten calls back from potential buyers that said, you know what, you've called me in 3 days more than my agents called me in 2 months. We've talked about it, and we'd like to hire you as our agent. So it is, again, I keep using the word consistency.
Love it.
So yeah.
All right, I'm gonna switch it up because we're running out of time, and I know we spent plenty on this, but I got a question from the audience. Someone answer, what product do you use to have accurate phone numbers for circle prospecting? I'll ask you, Natalie.
I love Forewarn. So I use Forewarn to make sure that I use Mojo Dialer first. And then if somebody says that's not my number, I use Forewarn to find the number. Is that what you're asking, Aaron?
I think so. Daryl, did that answer your question? Did anyone else have a tool that you use that wasn't one that she named? Anyone else have one that you use to get numbers?
The free one on the MLS is Remine.
Oh yeah, that one too.
We use Vulcan 7.
Love it. All right. I promised I would talk about this. Let's talk about your sphere. What are you doing to keep in touch with your sphere? And what is the best client appreciation or lead gen event that you either have done or that you do?
I'm big on Facebook. So I believe in you post 80% personal and 20% business. I like to actually, even past clients, I invite them to my personal Facebook. I want them to know I'm human. I want them to see who I am. I want them to see my life. And that's what I do, basically. I get a lot of referrals. I actually get a lot of referrals even from agents because of my Facebook. I believe in doing the videos. I try to make it creative as possible, and I do just different things. And the other thing I wanted to say, if you guys have an assistant, I send happy birthdays. So every Monday there's a happy birthday. We see whose birthday is on Facebook for that week, and it looks like I'm sending the personal message. So I send a happy birthday. Hope you have a great week for your birthday to everybody. And then the following week we do the same thing. And you wouldn't believe like how many people are like, oh my God, you remember my birthday. Thank you so much. Instead of just posting on a timeline, I do a message privately through Facebook. So that's how I do my Spear past clients, people who are following me on Facebook, whoever it is, that my admin will see like whose birthdays are for that week, and she sends a copy paste message, and then that's how I kind of also keep people engaged.
Love it. One thing I want to mention, you mentioned Forewarn. Y'all should know that Florida Realtors spends a lot of money to make that free for you guys. So you could be using Forewarn. If you're not using Forewarn, now you know, and you should be using it.
Yep, it's a great system.
Lissette, how about breaking down what you do to keep in touch with your past clients and the best client appreciation event or lead gen event you do?
I keep in touch with my clients, my past clients. I have a private Facebook group, and it's only for my past clients. So even if they're just went pending or active, they're not yet on that VIP past client group till they make it to the past client list. Best event that I had is, for me, it's less is more. So I'd rather invite 30 people from my past clients than to have a 300 plus count people. I think it works best. I think it's more one-on-one, and I do get to ask them questions in the room instead of just having this full room. Like right now, I don't know who's who, and I'm just going to be here, providing food, drinks, whatever, but there's no connection. Like someone might leave and I might say, who was that person? So I'd rather make it small and get to ask them personal questions like, how are your kids? How's your dog? Did your child had a baby? Whatever that situation might be. That works. That has worked for me. And I think less is more.
Love it. Rick?
Well, I have to say our events is not so strong, but we do one in November, and it's our pie giveaway, and we make it a client appreciation event at the same time. So we'll have all the pies there, and you can just stop by and pick up a pie and have a couple drinks on us. And it's been pretty successful. But I want to tap into what Amy said so far is when she did the movie thing, it wasn't probably about the movie itself as much as it is about making the reach, right? And reaching out to these, and the invite is more important than the actual event. So obviously, and then the follow-up, if they didn't come, obviously you don't want to be pissed, but you want to say thank you for not coming. No. But thank you.
Think about how many people.
Sorry, you couldn't
my
make
realtor didn't invite me to a cool movie night, or
right,
exactly. I want to be part of the Amy Moline club.
But I would say for our sphere, I'm not sure if I can get a referral out of this, but personal marketing is a company that you can reach out to, and for every one of your past clients, it costs you $25 per client, and they will send a newsletter, a nice little book, once a month for 5 years. I'll be honest with you, and I'm first one up here to say I'm not great at following up myself. I don't think we all are. But ultimately, this thing, I got a call, and the guy goes, look, I got your book. If I wouldn't have gotten it, I would have forgotten who you were. But I need you to come list my house. So yes, follow-up is going to be critical. And, as they say, set it and forget it. That's a tool that if you're looking for something where I think our clients are worth a $25,
Love it.
Definitely. It's called personal marketing. You're very welcome.
All right, Harif, someone give him a mic. How do you keep in touch with your sphere and best client appreciation or lead gen event?
I've not thrown a lead gen event yet. Excited to hear more. I'm curious because I would like to tap into that. Admittedly, I've not been great at following up with past clients. I am very relational though, so it's not been structured. But literally yesterday, I just got a call from somebody that I sold a house for 3 years ago. And I think a month ago, I just randomly thought about him, literally. So this happens all the time. You guys probably, so whenever you get this premonition or like this thought, reach out. A lot of the times it's for a reason. And I can't tell you how many stories, literally they're, oh my God, I was just thinking about you, or so on and so forth. And you get to reconnect, but it should be more structured.
Also, by the way, I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to give this tip. You download Contactually, or you can use Contactually. It uses some kind of AI algorithm to actually give you the premonition. So that people randomly pop up that have emailed you, that have
Love
talked to
it.
you, whatever, and you're
Myra,
shocked
download
how
that.
accurate it is when you're like, oh my God, I do need to call Harif, or I do need to call Amy.
I love it. It's
Sorry.
those spontaneous, you know, just like you, if you're married or something, like if you get this structured thing sometimes from your spouse, you're like, it takes away the juice in it. But if, hey babe, I was just thinking about you today. Oh, wow. You were, you know, it's kind of that thing. So I like that AI thing, but
And you can set up people in buckets where they get automated reminders like every month or every 8 months or every 6. Like you can
Yeah.
be robotic about it, but it can also just kind of randomize it.
that's awesome. And the one thing that I shared at the last one that I'll gift you that was given to me, which I didn't do this time, but it's still not too late. Annual equity reviews. So you sell someone a house once a year, boom, next year, and you tee it up. You let them know, hey, once a year, I'm going to be giving you an annual equity review of your home. Great way to generate new listings and rekindle relationships. And it really elevates you as a true professional.
It's like client retention insurance.
You can also use a tool called HomeBot. Does that too. And it's amazing. Sorry.
HomeBot's amazing. HomeBot is amazing. Okay, so for us, so we love events.
Oh,
Events.
real quick. I have a house in Mount Dora. You may want to throw your next event at, Harif. Since you're calling me about, you called me about a place to do an event. Why don't you do your next client event there?
No, I want to invite these guys to sell it.
All right. Well,
You do both.
we'll send something out to everyone after. But sorry, Amy, go ahead.
He can do both. So events are really easy. You just have to do it. And you can find a sponsor because there's lenders and title people and people want to help support you. So just say yes and go do one. They're so awesome. So our main one that we do is our fall festival. We actually rent out the entire Southern Hill Farms. They let us bring like 900 to 1,000 people. But it's amazing because I didn't realize how expensive it is now for people to bring their families. And the invitation is the best part of it, as we've said before. But, you know, our goal is that we call every single person to invite them. You know, Terry, come to our event. Are you coming? And you bring your family, bring your neighbors, bring your friend, bring the kids, and they love it. And it's just we know we're going to get between 10 to 20 referrals just for inviting the people.
Can you just
And-
remind them what's on the invite? To make
Oh, the
sure you get
invite
referrals?
is just, okay, so I've seen invitations from other realtors. It's just very simple. Don't do simple. Like, this is your opportunity to ask some questions. Update us with your address. Are you thinking of moving, selling your property over the next, 6 to 12 months? Do you need a strategy session? Do you have a friend or family member who is in the market to buy or sell a property that they need a good realtor? And people answer the questions, and it's fantastic. And then you can even ask, please, I want to invite one of my friends or family members, and have them put their name in, so then you can send them the invitation as well. And people reply. But we have great responses. And then on top of that, throughout the year, every Valentine's Day for our top referrers, we send them like a Norman Love candy. In March, we do the St. Patrick's Day. Everybody gets a lottery ticket. So we send out 2,000 lottery tickets to homes. That always brings us business. Then
Is that geographic or is that your past?
that's
clients?
all of our sphere. It isn't just clients, it's our sphere. And so, we're doing this for the team, all of our team members. And then on top of that, then we do our movie night in May, June, depends on the movies. We want to show a good movie. And then we do our fall festival, and in between there. So we have a team. So for our agents, for some of them, they live in bigger subdivisions. We'll rent out, we're doing ice cream trucks for 2 of the agents in their subdivisions. And then we do Santa Claus as well. And then we did an Easter egg hunt this last year for 2 of them as well. So it's a lot of work, but we have a team. So that, my director of operations, he manages all of it and just tells us when to show up and make sure you're calling, and we keep a tally of, the calls that we're making.
Any other golden nuggets aside from collecting that information on the invitation?
People love you. Like, I think that's probably what people underestimate. You underestimate how much your clients care about you, and the people that love you. So, and you're all delightful people. So go be delightful and be delightful, right? But people want to know you more, and we're too insecure and scared to be known that way. But yes, you're lovable and loving, and they want to love you. So let them love you, right?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. By the way, how many of you guys filled out a form to sign up for here today? And you might have already listed whether or not you've been to Masterclass, an Orlando Real Producers event, and what's one type of vendor you'd like an introduction to. Most of y'all filled that out. What do you think we do with that? Sometimes we introduce you, and sometimes we just send it to the sponsors, and they call you if you wrote their name on it. But just a little tip: you can put that on Eventbrite too, whether it's physically written or not. But why not collect the info? Worst thing that happens is someone just doesn't fill it out. You get the referrals from the rest of them. Anything that you guys want me to ask these people? Y'all give it up if you learned something today. Make some noise. We're already running a little bit over, so
Aaron, I just want to say thanks to Amy. My whole team has been texting me up here. They all are applying for that runner position. They've actually sent me cars that they want as a company car. So thank you, David.
Love it. So
Yeah.
two quick things, or three quick things. Number one, Mike McGraw asked me a question. I'm going to spell it out for everyone. The app that I mentioned is Contactually, like the word actually mixed with the word contact. Contactually. Also, the first $500 spent in the Eden Lounge Bar, which is like the bar out there, which has the best burger in town. I told y'all last month, but I'm going to say it again. They won a bunch of awards. They have awesome food, but hang out at Eden Lounge. PJ Crescenzo with Element Mortgage is buying the first $500 plus paying the tip. So give it up to PJ and go buy some food. And the faster you get your order in, the more likely you are to not have to pay for it. Otherwise, you're paying for it. But stick around and hang out with us. Also, next month, where are we going to be? Are we back here? Yell it out. No, we are up the street at Venue on Lake Lily, which is also called the Maitland Civic Center. And that is July, I think that's the 19th. Does that sound right? 18th, that's what I meant. Sorry. I was picturing an 8, but I said 9. July 18th, we will be over there, and it'll be about prospecting and lead conversion, and there'll be a secondary panel. It's a Title Royal Rumble. That'll be a fun one. But anyway, y'all give it up for all the panelists here. Give it up for all the sponsors today.
Can we
give it up for Dave and his team, D. Stewart Productions. We threw them all sorts of curveballs. So if anything didn't work properly, it wasn't their fault. They did an amazing job fixing all the things that we threw their way. Anyone have anything you want to say?
Can we give it up to Aaron for putting this thing on and every time that he does it?
Aaron, was there something you wanted somebody to remind you of something? I can't remember what
it was. The event stuff. So we hit on that. And I was going to actually say, like, when it comes to mailing people over and over and over again, like, we've mailed, like, we're on our 90th edition. So essentially, like, we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars mailing specifically to 500 people every year since 2016. I haven't even done the math on how much we spent, but it's a crazy number. And sometimes I still hit someone and they're like, just found out about it. And you're like, dang, I hit you 90 freaking times with a 100-page book, and you just now. To be fair, like about 40 months in, there was almost no one that said that. But I can tell you that a lot of you guys are quitting 3 feet from gold. You're putting money into this. You're doing a little bit of this. You do a sprinkle effect. You sprinkle a little bit of money and effort here, sprinkle a little bit over here, sprinkle it over there, and nothing happens because you're not going deep enough on one thing for long enough for it to actually compound and get you something. So I thought that all you guys hit on that amazingly. Let's just give everybody a round of applause one more time, and then let's go grab some food. Thank you for buying the food, PJ. Thank you to all the sponsors, and thank you guys for coming out. Hopefully you'll join us next month, and if you could, do us a favor and help share that flyer with a few people in real estate so we sell out next month faster. I'm going to email you 100 times. Thanks, y'all. See you later.